Um, so yeah, let's get a head start. I see that we have, yeah, a lot of good people here today. All right. So throughout the webinar, um, if just before jumping into the good stuff, right? I'd love to learn a little bit more of all of you that's here with us today. Please go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat. Tell us your name, where you're joining from, and most importantly, what are you building with IoT today, right? Is it predictive maintenance? Is it asset tracking, energy monitoring, smart buildings, industrial automations? We're always curious to see the variety of projects that our community is working on. Um, yeah, and we'll also we have some of our colleagues on the chat there, so they're going to be helping us through any questions that you have. So yeah, let's get a head started. Today, I would like to introduce to everyone Tony, who is our colleague and IoT application advisor. He's going to be joining this session today with us while we spend our time understanding a little bit more about how to use the new AI module that we have inside TagoIO. One important thing that I would like to share is we did a webinar feature by feature on the Tago AI before. This AI will be focused on some insights that we also generated from that last webinar that we did, right? Focus on some key important things that helps us to understand how to use AI safely to build applications, right? So we're gonna think about um, the challenges that we have today, how they transform from 3 years ago or from 5 years ago. It changed dramatically in the way that we thought about IoT applications, right? So I like to start with a question. How many of you have opened or have start working with an IoT application with hundreds of devices, dozens of dashboards, multiple scripts doing different automations, with thousands, sometimes even a million of data points, and had, any idea where to start, how am I going to analyze this? How I'm going to look into the data that's coming through? So that's the challenge that I see a lot of people having today, right? Um, because the problem isn't collecting the data anymore. Most companies, they already have an idea on the sensor that they want to use, the dashboards that they envision. The problem is understanding everything quickly enough to make decisions. 5 years ago, we spent most of our time trying to connect devices, and it's the truth, right? Today, we spend most of our time trying to understand the data that they produce, and that's how it's progressing, right? And that's where the changes in experience comes along. So instead of digging through dashboards, instead of exporting CSV files, writing queries, instead of reading literally hundreds of lines of code, you simply ask. And that's really today of the purpose. The purpose of today's sessions is we're going to show how TagoAI can help you to interact to your IoT application using natural language, right? And you'll see how it helps you read bulk data much faster, understanding dashboards, understanding analysis scripts, modifying applications, and ultimately build new functionalities much faster. But today's webinar is also about something bigger, right? So most AI demonstrations, they stop at user interface. Today we're going to go a little bit beyond that. We'll show the AI working inside TagoIO, and then we'll show the AI helping build the backend itself of the application through our MCP integration. So today, think of AI in two different roles, right? First, as your application assistant, helping you to understand data, helping you to edit dashboards, helping you to understand scripts. And second, as your dashboard assistant, helping you to build the application, as your development assistant, helping you to build the application itself, right? So that's what we're gonna cover here today. Very excited because this is super big, right? We're seeing a large reduction time, and customers are are deploying applications so fast right now. But yeah, Tony, I'll invite you to the board so you can share a little bit more of that to us, um, and how we are using a couple different scenarios there, how we're using AI today to customize dashboards. So yeah,
Yeah,
let's do it.
yeah, absolutely. So I'm also new to Tago as well, though I have experience in IoT. So right here, I'm just wanting to be able to create my dashboard and more create and drag and drop widgets in particularly. So as we see here, it's currently trying to commit the custom widget right now back here in the background. Going for more of the compressor usage. I'm not a full-on expert with the compressor in particular, so that is why I'm kind of getting right here for my system to do it. Oh, right now, I've just dragged and dropped the data. Currently creating everything, creating the dashboard, starting to fetch the data sample, starting to create the widget. As we start to see here, it's starting to show the compressor usage. Now it gives me the air compressor, the line pressure, process pump vibration, and temperature as well. All right here in the dashboard. And then finally gives me that PSI. Let me know a little bit more about that data in particularly as it continues to go forward. And here I'm able to see all my devices and everything and all that data that comes right back into it. And everything from there, all in one place. And from here, let's
That
go to
is
the
really
next
neat.
slide.
So you have another
Move on to
one.
go next slide. Now, this one, I'm going to connect it to a specific device and more just understand the sensor interaction here. So we'll go ahead with my custom widget here again and create that device and connect it to the network. So this way we can create more of an analysis in particular that go ahead. So it'll go and create the button in particularly. That way we can go ahead and register the device. We see here, starting to create the analysis, going through and searching through it, searching through the profile. This way it creates more of that device interactively. Go ahead and drag and drop more events right into the process here. Now it's loading the analysis. Going to the part where creating it. It's getting an update to the widget and what I actually went through the process through earlier. So currently bundling the source. And now I can go ahead and add the device. As you see right there, and just simply a button right there, you can go ahead and add that device name, device EUI. There we go. I've got the analysis of everything right there, all that available data. Everything just lined up right there from how I've been able to create it and everything. There, and from there, if everything's set on policy, device access is granted, and voila, everything is all set to go. Yeah, so I'll let Tiago
That's
take
awesome.
it back over from here.
That's great, Tony. Thank you for that. And for everyone to know, Tony recently joined Tago, which actually makes him perfect person to demonstrate these capabilities. Because instead of showing someone who's been using the platform for years, he just showed that what AI looks like from someone learning from the platform and building custom widgets. So we'll get into that a little bit, right? In a little bit. Just by sharing a simple line of thought, right? Or writing that into the AI prompt. So that's how we do some acceleration and that's how we also shorten the learning curve. Because one thing is, and I'm going to show that on my live demo. Um, This is like going through devices, asking what I can do inside devices, what this module of devices inside Tago offer me. Go inside an analysis, ask it what about a certain script does. Going inside an access management, understand what the access manager is actually doing, how it is distributing access across the users that are interacting with that application. It can ask about the data itself, asking a question, an analytical question towards millions of data, right? So all the repetitive work that we had before, doing carries and downloading CSV, analyzing Excel sheets, that is where that gap is gone, right? So now let me throw in a quick poll here, just so we can get a little bit more acquainted. I'm gonna launch it right now. Let me know what how that looks like for you in regards to IoT adoption. How is AI adoption within your IoT projects today? Will be great to learn a little bit more of that. How's that impacting our community out there and how we can help, right? Um, that's wonderful. All right. So um, I really like the example that Tony shared with us because it highlights something important, right? The value isn't that AI magically builds applications. The value is that it removes friction. And I love that sentence, right? Instead of spreading hours figuring out where to click or remembering every configuration, you spend your time thinking about the problem you're solving. That's where AI becomes a teammate rather than another failure. So yeah, that's great. Let me go through and share a little bit more of how that looks like in real life, right? So let me share my screen here. So thank everyone for answering the poll. Not use it yet, took it. Hopefully, let me actually, yeah, let me end this poll and I'm gonna share the results here so y'all can see it. So not a lot of people using it. I recommend, and if you haven't used it yet, try it a little bit. Try our AI. It might not be enabled by default. I'm gonna share a little bit more about that too. But glad we have sort of like a mix, really, right? We have daily, weekly, occasionally, um, and some are not using, and that's totally fine, guys. That's wonderful, actually. So yeah, let me share my screen, and I'll give you like a wide view of what we're actually looking at, right? So I'm gonna share here with you today, component of component. What do you need to know about the AI that we have today on TagoIO, right? So once you are on your TagoIO screen, you're looking at your right side of the screen. You can find it either on the bottom here, on the right side. You're gonna see like a little star. As you normally see AI icons, right? You're gonna have on the top your recent chats, as you can do. You can see doing many chats there, many questions, creating many dashboards. I'll share with you guys what I did a couple hours ago. I'm sure you're gonna love that. You can create a new chat. There's some recommendations here that you can use as well. And and this is again, I want to open a big attention to this part of the webinar because this is one of the key takeaways, right? People ask me a lot this question: what's the risk, right? What's the risk of me asking for my AI to do something and delete and access something that it shouldn't, or go, crazy with the dashboards that I already have? So this is one of the components that we have that I'm actually really proud of. Is our AI includes three modes. Read only. What can you do in read only? Just see the data. What is this good for? I want to ask a question about my data. I want to ask a question about a particular module inside TagoIO. I want to learn what is networks, what is dictionaries, what is analysis, how do I build one? This is great read-only questions, right? Here we're not doing anything destructive. We're not editing anything. We're not deleting anything. Then we have edit mode. Edit mode, yeah, you can create some things, you can edit some things, resources and data, right? That means you can edit resources, you can create new resources or dashboards, or even data, right? This will be, I think, it's the one that I use the most personally because normally I used to create some dashboards or like demos for customers that I'm talking to or prototypes. It's great for that, and I'll show you why. And in some minutes there, I have created. So let me go to my history now. So you don't believe in me, I'll go here to my remote compressor operations. This is a custom widget. And for those who don't know what a custom widget inside Tago is, it's an iframe where we can put basically our own design of widgets there. We do have a library, which we put a lot of work on it over the last years. They work great. They each have their own purpose. And that's fine. For you to build quick dashboards, they work perfectly. You have most of like the spectrum that you would need in an IoT applications, you would find it here. But sometimes customers they need something outside of that, right? If even if it's like for one particular visualization they're working in, and I like to bring on this example because um, I don't think I have one variable in this widget here that was generated by my sensor. Rather, it was generated by my own analytics within the platform. I'm not seeing vibration here or any of those stuff. I'm seeing like KPIs and indicators for my equipment, right? Which were perhaps were results of my calculations that I did across um, my compressor, right? That I'm collecting from it. So this dashboard that you see here, for example, I created and using the edit mode. So it did not just did the dashboard because that's one thing, right? The one thing is the dashboard. I S2 created the dashboard, but then each compressor have its own device. So the AI went there, created these three devices for me. Um, it did create the analysis. So let me go ahead. It did create this Dino analysis for me which is to simulate data inside this dashboard. As I don't have a sensor for it, it generates some of the variables and present it on my dashboard. But just think about it. If I went ahead and just open here my prompt and just say what this analysis does, it would just say to me, this analysis generates variables for the three devices that you have on dashboard X. But imagine if I wasn't someone that was familiar with these devices, or I was just new to the company and I had to know what was going on with this analysis. You can now go to each different module here and you can use it to contextualize what you're actually, your question, right? What you're actually looking for. So that's one brilliant thing that we do have on the chat. And then full access mode is, here we're going destructive. Here we have the ability, AI will have the ability to delete, to edit, to create. So now if you need to not just create data, create dashboards, you can also delete data, delete dashboards. Of course, there might be some certain specific operations that you may use it, maybe on the prototype area. But my recommendation is maybe start with the read only, go to the edit mode. If you really see need, go to the full access mode. One other feature that helped me a lot during the customization, because of course, AI can create things functionally very well, right? So think about AI, create a dashboard for me. The AI will say, hey, here we go, here's a dashboard. It's all squarey, like, it's not going to be perfect at the first shot. What can you do to help? There's a little attachment button here. Let's say you have like a PDF with your company guidelines or your customers' colors guidelines with the colors. You got to use black and yellow for this. You got to use red and blue for this. And you can actually share the design with the AI. So when it's creating the dashboard, it'll actually take from that design. And that was one of the most brilliant things that I've seen. Because for those who are here and are familiar with Tago, you could say that the widget that I'm looking right here, it's not a native widget. This I have made to match a specific scenario, right? It took in the file that I uploaded here and it used the theme from that file to create this dashboard that I'm at right now. So that's one of the cool things that can do. Another thing is, let me just go back here now to my audits log. Another question that people do a lot to me is, what, how do I track the changes? How do I know changes that were done through AI versus changes that were done from myself or from other peers that works with me, right? So remember the audit log. So if you go to your audit log, you can check that info today. If you go to event indicator and you select, here you're going to see all your users, you're going to see the TagoIO system, Tago run system, and you have TagoAI. So look how beautiful. I did some changes in the last hours, right? So I'm going to put here 6 hours interval, TagoAI for all the resources, and I'm going to apply this filter. So now I can see, look, all these modifications that were done on my system that my audit log is showing right now, this is what my AI did for me, right? And it did it wildly fast. Um, I love this because for my largest customers and they have multiple collaborators per application, right? You have one guy taking care of integrations, the other one taking care of analysis and other components. So you have different people interacting with the application, and some are using the AI, some are not. We need to know exactly what was done through AI, what was not done through AI, right? So that's another thing to keep in mind, really good feature about this new tool. Now I want to show you, because third question I get asked a lot is now, how do I put my own LLM, my own AI model within my application? So if you go to your profile and you go here to tokens, I'm sorry, services, you'll see on the right side here that you have AI provider. That's right there. You can toggle or untoggle the AI assistant. And that's right. That's a good point. Why this is important. AI is not an in-toggle component. Remember, toggle is safe. We are within our structure. Toggle AI sits outside of the structure. Our customers, they can toggle on and off this assistant. If they don't use, they can matters much just turn off. But if they use, they can turn it on and they can put their own key. So that's one good thing. If you have a very advanced AI from analyzing data and looking through using that AI inside Toggle to build your application, you can do that. For example, here I can add my AI key, and here I'll put my key on my TagoIO secret and pull my secret from here, right? So you can actually choose the best model for you to work with this new AI module. And up to this point, we're really looking at the AI with that is within the platform, right? So everything that we've seen right now, of course, it can create analysis, it can create dashboards, it can look at the data, you can ask questions to it, you can learn more about Toggle with it. That's fine. But now, let's say the conversation just got a bit more serious and you're actually starting to develop some code with it. And I really love this part because I made a lot of progress with my own MCP server. I'm going to go ahead and share a little bit of that with you. But first, let me contextualize the MCP for you, right? Because we do have this for a little bit of time. Just not sure how this got um, to everyone, right? So before I do that, let me just do a quick pause here. I'm going to go ahead and share another poll because I think it's an important question too. Let's take a quick deep breath. Let's take a look at that poll. Where do you use AI the most in your IoT projects? And I think we have some good options there now because I've been sharing I've been sharing a lot of different resources, right? Edit dashboards, see data, create analysis, set my access management, explain me about different modules around Tago. But yeah, we'll love to see why you are using AI today and what are you using it for. All right, so let's give it a couple more seconds there. And in the meantime, I'm going to explain a little bit about the MCP, right? So MCP, Model Context Protocol. And why is important, right? So this is an AI that sits outside of Tago, runs on your machine, right? The difference with the MCP is that it can get context from your account, from your TagoIO account, right? I think that is one of the most important things when we look at the MCP. Because other AIs that we use, let's say I just have my flat OpenAI open in front of me, right? My OpenAI don't know my application. It doesn't know my devices. It doesn't know my dashboards. It doesn't know my variables. So every prompt literally starts from zero, from scratch. MCP changes that. It creates a secure bridge between our AI tools and your TagoIO account. That means that AI works with real context instead of assumptions, which is something that we know that AI does a lot. When you combine the TagoIO MCP with a nice tool to develop like Visual Code and also like GitHub TagoIO CLI, you create an incredibly productive development workflow. So instead of asking AI to generate generic code, you're asking it to generate code for your application, your devices, your dashboards, your analysis scripts, your account. Over the last couple of months, I pretty much built an entire application using this workflow. And I like to show you what I used and what I see some customers using that can get you that sort of experience. So before I share my screen and we'll jump into that, let me share our most recent poll. Here we go, share results. So let's take a look at that. All right, so we're using a lot of AI to write out their debut code. Brilliant. That's you're gonna love the MCP. That's coming up next. So we have a little bit of making sense of data, trends, anomalies. That's good. I'm loving the balancing here, doing one thing or another. And that's the point. I don't think AI is going to solve one thing. I think it's here to solve a bunch of things. Building dashboards and visualization, research and planning. Yeah, okay, that's wonderful. I appreciate you guys for voting it. We're going to take that info in. And here, let me go ahead and I'm going to now share my development environment, and which is the most powerful tool that I use to develop IoT applications today, right? So what we're looking at right now is my Visual Studio code, right? And this I'm going to go through very quickly, guys, because it's a mix of components together with the MCP that helps a lot here, right? So here I have my codecs on the right side. This codecs is already rigged with my MCP server. So I have my TagoIO MCP right here. I got my token right there. All my MCP tools are loaded. I use this codecs to do a lot of stuff within my app, right? But I do also very important stuff, and talking also about what AI represented to me during all this period, right? It was almost like AI was my intern engineer that was by my side, doing all this work, repetitive work, right? And rounding it up, creating a plan, and executing just relentlessly, right? Some things that I do with my MCP, I do audit dependencies, I investigate errors, I create models, I create dictionaries. So imagine if you have an application in English, entirely in English. So now you have a customer in Spain, and now you need support in Spanish. So 5 years ago, I'd had to look through my entire app, relabel everything, get all the names and figures. And today I can just ask my AI, can you create like an IAT and support for me for my dictionaries? Portuguese, Spanish, and English is fine. And it starts to create the plan to implement those languages into my app. It can look for any vulnerability. It can create code from scratch, can create PDF generators. These are now, we're not talking about generating one dashboard and that's it. We're talking about generating features that are going to be generating more resources and data for me on the other side. So look at the analysis that I have on the left. Derived flow and deltas. That was AI generated. Roll up site as KPIs. That was AI generated. Roll up customer KPIs. That was AI generated. Create a simulator, real world simulator for meters. That also was AI generated. All these analysis, Thiago, how long it took for you to do, for you to build this application? It took me about a week, right? And I think I even took too long because here I was testing a lot of things, right? I think I could do a little bit faster, but it's a mix, right? So I have my Codex here that is helping me with my code, is helping me with my repo. I have that on sync with my GitHub, so it's also helping me with my versioning to keep my README updated. And I also have access to my TagoIO CLI. And this package, I love this package because CLI maintains me in sync with my accounts at a like a repo level, a deployment level. Codex give me all the resources I need to expedite any work that I have to do on my code, and the GitHub keeps me on sync. And Codex can help with all of that, right? Codex can help me with my code, with my CLI, and with my GitHub versioning. So very little for me to do unless thinking about the architecture, which is really important, right? So how I have to structure the application, what makes more sense for my business model. Those are questions that we still do, but all of that repetitive work that we had, 3 or 5 years ago, it's really gone, right? So we are on the top of the hour, 33 minutes to go. I would like to open another 5 to 7 minutes for questions. Let me just reshare my screen here for the Q&A, and we'll go from there. So let me see if we have any questions here on the chat. Tony, you have anything for me?
Yeah, I was about to say we had a couple questions in the chat. Go to.
That's cool. So let's take a look at that. Okay, free demo accounts have this functionality. Ooh, I believe so. Yeah, basically just regular free accounts, right? I know that for accounts on the EU server, you might have to toggle on. It will not be enabled by default, but you can go ahead and toggle it on, right? So that's going to be for the EU service. And I have another question from Pravin. I think use of custom widgets and dashboard is faster than working with this AI prompt. What are the differentiating factors of AI? So actually, Pravin, what I was sharing before was a custom widget that was made by AI through just in a couple of minutes, right? I think the differentiating factors is it's non-destructive, right? It's like I shared before, it has locks and rate limits to keep keep you within without deleting anything, without messing too much. You have also read-only modes that can help with that. And being able to use your own AI too, right? So if you have a more advanced AI, you want to go ahead and plug it there. You can also go ahead and do that. Was that your question? Just make sure I got it right. Got you to the right answer here. And yeah, if anyone has any questions, I would just like to reinforce too that we're constantly launching these updates on LinkedIn. So feel free to follow TagoIO on LinkedIn. Here we go. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put TagoIO LinkedIn's here. And if you haven't followed us yet, feel free to go ahead and follow us too. Here we go.
Yeah. And Julio has their hand raised.
Julio, okay. Julio, you feel free to make your question, okay?
And we got a
I don't.
question from Philip.
Philip, are some AI token included in the starter account, and how much does it cost for some? Great question, Philip. I think it's not tokens, but it's use. I think it's like 150 uses within the chat. And then once you're done, let's say I think it's 150 per month, okay? And then if you want to use more, you can put your API key, like I showed in the beginning. Like if you have an OpenAI API key or another from another provider, as we saw there on the list, you can use that one provider, and then 100% of the cost will be on your side, right? Okay, good question. Okay, perfect. Thank you for jumping in, Phil. That's great. All right. Well, I don't see any questions from the cloud right now. I would like to thank everyone from joining this session. I hope that these insights can inspire some of you to start building your applications in your dashboards. If you want to talk about any of that, if you have any projects that you want to discuss, how to use AI, how to build projects using AI and go a little bit deeper in the detail, I'm happy to sit and discuss with you. I'm going to go ahead and leave my email here on the chat too. Feel free to give me a buzz if you if you want to extend this conversation. If you think that it will really help you to build your application right now, I'm 100% into, putting in 10, 15 minutes and understand how we can chime in with that. All right. Other than that, thank you everyone for joining. It's lovely to be able to participate in another webinar for you all. Tony, thanks a lot for giving us a hand here. It was great to have you with us. And yeah, see you all on the next session. Have a great rest of the week, everybody.